Welcome, welcome. I'm your master cosmologist and the head cheerleader to the stars. I'm going to talk about the channeled word for the sun in Taurus. I just really solidified it finally, and it is the word trade. I know all of you know how to use a dictionary, so go ahead and do your homework and read the definitions yourself and onboard what it means to you. I am so far picking up on trading tracks. Right now, we are being taken decidedly off of going along with the old world and switching tracks, trading stories, trading our focus, trading what we talk about, from complaining about what was and what's not working to being solution and creation and art oriented and making what's to come. That's the meat and potatoes of the sun in Taurus this year, is make a difference, make art, make your dreams come true. So in order to accomplish the new, we have to trade the old. And I feel like that's going to come along with a lot of trading bad habits, especially when Uranus gets to 26 degrees of Taurus. When is that? On April 25th. So four and a half days. That one's really going to headbutt you to make change, if you haven't already, for your betterment by trading, by swapping habits that don't serve you for brand new, better ones, especially when it comes to health, fitness, your nourishment, body care, sleep habits, anything in the care and feeding of the cow. And then there's this trade of how we do business and trading into a new economy, swapping the old economy out for a new one, which is coming through with a lot of bartering and trade energy. Not that that's going to necessarily be, well, it's definitely not going to be an overnight switch for sure, but I think we will see a lot more people interested in trading skills and services and labor, trading goods, swapping, people picking up new trades, a reinvigoration of trade work, especially masonry and building. Master builder is a big theme lately. Trades, picking up new trades, going to trade school, being an apprentice, learning someone else's trade, trading trades where somebody else's talent and skill set, their genius, if you study under them and learn even a fraction of their trade, it will help and benefit you. There's something here too about leveraging industry leading insight where you don't have to reinvent the wheel and start it from scratch, stand on the shoulders of giants and hire somebody or do trade work just to learn some of the ingredients that you need to assist you where you're at on your path right now. I'm going to pull from 𝗀𝗻𝐶ella to Togetherness Quilt Oracle, the Oracle of Roses, and Goddess of Love Tarot. I'm gonna go with the Quilt Oracle first. Actually, let's set these way over, scoot these out of the way. and go with the quilt oracle. Tell me more about the word trade. I knew it was going to be this card on the bottom. It's gratitude patch. Maintain a gratitude journal to focus on life's small joys, fostering a mindset of contentment. It is in reverse. So there's this trading of a bad attitude, a shitty attitude, a terrible mindset, a negative mindset, anywhere where those little viruses have taken root, weeding them out. And, ooh, that's interesting because it looks like neural, like brain neurons. Yes, there's this need to prune these dead dendrites, these dead neurons, these dead neural connections. They are not valuable, they're not serving, they're not helpful. We can trim them away and we can form new connections by turning our frown upside down and maintaining an attitude of gratitude. I got an attitude of gratitude, an attitude of gratitude. I think that's Chris and Teeb, Attitude of Gratitude. It's a song. Might need to put that on your playlist and put it on repeat until that becomes your new MO, your moo. I'm going to call our MO, our modus operandi, our moo from now on in Taurus season, at least. We'll call it our moo. We're getting a new moo. I like that. Okay, let's go for an Oracle of the Roses. Tell me more about trade. Scientists. Okay, this is interesting. This is the Memorial Rose. If you are like me, you may have needed to trade being an intellectual and being scientific and employing the scientific method and being very logical to really develop and take time to foster your feminine brain, that mysterious, mystical, intuitive half of your brain. Now, I know I don't want to say I've leaned too heavily to one side. It just was a very long season to condition and develop it. You know what's interesting? It's nearly as long as I went to school for, in a sense. You know, we went to elementary school, middle school, high school. Some of us went on to college and trade school and further learning, higher education, where that is it drills in logic and science and logic and intellect and science. And that's all we focus on growing up in this culture. And there's zero emphasis in school, in learning, in growing up, in our culture to tap 50% of our brain. So we're 50% retarded and 50% stupid. A lot of us had to really go into a season, many, many, many years of studying to redevelop and onboard half of our brain. And now it feels like this is saying to become a mad scientist, to be a true genius, is to employ both and blend them. It's the best of both worlds, or the best of both brains, or the best of both hemispheres, where it's super cool to be magical and mystical and intuitive. But if you don't put in the science and the research and the foresight and the planning, there's this trading here I'm getting of switching back and forth. You'll know when now to use what and when to combine them or when to just use one or the other only. And I'm getting for this audience to make sure that you put an emphasis right now on the scientific method. Lay things out, plan it out before you go into the actual experiment. I'm gonna look in the guide and see what else scientist brings up for us. You know what's really cool is this is my trade, cosmology, natural, nature-based, earth-based astrology with the cards, with the magic. This is my trade. It is my science. I've developed this science and I've logged it and I've put it into notebooks. One thing that I'm getting here is you might need to develop a trade school of your own by writing a book or putting together a course or something tangible, marketable, consumable, teachable, something that can be assimilated in a manner that you can teach it and share it with apprentices, with your acolytes, with your understudies, with yeah, with others in some real world format. With the scientists here, there was one other thing that just popped into my noggin. Oh, it's new fields of sciences branching off. New branches of science that some of us have developed. And these will form new trades. In a new economy, these will be very necessary, very vital. All right, let's see. The scientists. Trading fear, especially of the unknown, for curiosity and a scientific approach where you're willing to seek out solutions. Trading old methodologies and being experimental, attempting new ways, gathering your research, gathering information, gathering data, differently, new. You're almost trading and swapping out how you even do things. Trading your your habits too, and how you go about doing things sets you off in a completely different direction. There's this sacrificial energy that is happening with the earth in Scorpio where you are being asked to trade something old for something new and probably way better, but you have to empty yourself completely and let go of what was to be able to receive and take on this new. So there's a swap out, there's a trade there. It's always better than stagnation. Trading falling backwards for forward momentum. That's pretty important. Trading stagnation for freshness. Okay, this is an important hit here. It says the scientists will work out the question first before setting up the experiment, using true tests and carefully analyzing the outcomes. This is a different modus operandi where previously, I think most individuals have gone into things without pre-planning, without forecasting, without foresight, forethought, and without really thinking it through. So that's a trade of how we do things. Backing up, being a lot more patient, giving it the appropriate time to think it through, calculating the variables, being much more scientific before we plop our debit card down or plop the cash down or pay for that school, that trade school. Like, is that the right endeavor? Is that the right thing? What will the trade-off be? That's a really good point with the Earth and Scorpio. What's the trade-off? What are you giving up in order to have XYZ or vice versa? What can you experiment with to make things better in your life? This reads as trading what you currently have and experimenting around to see if you can make things better in your life. Like using the raw material that you already have and be willing to experiment. I like the word analysis. That's actually pretty potent, where we're trading some analysis paralysis for just taking bold action and taking the risk, and it's not that big of a deal type of attitude. But then also trading where we just step in like a folio or a stupid head for more careful calculation and a scientific method, a careful analysis. And trading a sense of redundancy or Groundhog's Day or boredom or an inability to make magic in your own world because you've lost that sense of discovery, experimentation, creativity, playing with new ideas and remaining open and curious, trading kind of a bad attitude for this combination of childlike wonder and curiosity. Let's go for a tarot card, and I think we'll call that good. Whoosha. Got Nine of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles, Crone of Pentacles. I'm pretty sure Crone is king. Let me double check. Yes, Crone of Pentacles. Interesting. I do get a sense of bartering and trade with these cards. The Nine of Pentacles is the first card up, and that rainbow, that arc with the two doves holding a pentacle between them, almost feels like we're bridging into a new age economy of trading, and money is going to be handled a little bit differently. I keep hearing money grows on trees, and that's a big thing I've maintained throughout my career doing channeling, is that truly commodities are apples, oranges, grapes. You can't eat gold. You can't eat money. Listen to The Seed by Aurora. That's such a great song condemning the old economy and instituting the new economy. where this feels to me like new markets opening, where there's a lot of trade of people being self-employed, a lot of solopreneurships and bartering and trading to get more accomplished in a shorter amount of time, because instead of everybody being hyper focused on money, there's a mutual benefaction to doing some trade work. So I feel like a lot of people are going to feel inclined to step into that. I've got the 10 of Pentacles, a very Taurus card. This has a Venus symbol on it. To me, it feels like it is saying something about money changing, economy changing to a Venusian, divine feminine, earth-based monetary system. And then the Crone of Pentacles, which is the king normally, but this one is the crone, and it's got an ancient goddess. Don't they call those Venus statues? For some reason, I think they are sometimes referred to as Venus statues. What is the Crone of Pentacles giving me? It's an interesting church. There's a doing away with something instituted by the big three: DC, London, the Crown, and the Vatican. Trading what has been the institution for a more feminine flow, a free market. Can I get a clarification on this message? Why is this here? Actually, I think I'll get more clarity from the rose. Why is this here? The flirt. Interesting. It definitely feels a lot more playful, like Monopoly money. And I'm going to look at the deck. Yeah, it says opening your heart to a more playful and lighter outlook on what is before you will allow you the space to see beyond any negativity clouding your judgment. So first of all, we have to flip the negativity clouding us around. Not get down about it, not get stressed out about it. Clip some neurons and dead ends and unhelpful ways of thinking. Trade it, make a patch, sew a patch. There's a patch. There's a patch that has to be inserted. And it's going to take a little while. That's why I can't fully grasp it yet, because there's a patch. And it has to be sewn in before the whole concept of this new economy steps into place. and replaces what was. And the flirt card, that's why the flirt card here is you have to flirt with it first. You have to take it on a date. You have to ask it out. You have to invite others to play with this new economy with you and experiment. You have to experiment. In order to get it to start clicking. If you get an exciting hit, if you get curious about something, if you feel like asking someone out on a bartering date, be the flirt and ask them out first. Don't be shy. I'm getting that in order to even tiptoe our way into a new economy, some of us have to be brave enough to ask others out on this date and pay for the date. Meaning you have to put yourself out there and take the risk that maybe it might not, the experiment, you're the scientist, you're experimenting. It might not work out. The date might not go so great. The trade might not go so well. The whole experiment might fail, but we're only going to be able to get a taste for it if we begin to experiment more with it and flirt with it. That's the message. It says, why don't you play a little, have fun a little, and experiment a little more? I would say with that clouding your judgment and turning it around, there's this a need to trade any doubts or any criticism for a very open-mindedness, a very open attitude where you won't know unless you give it a shot. So don't shoot it down before attempting the thing, or don't say it would never work out. We don't know because we've never done it before. Whatever this is, it hasn't been done before, and we are palpating it. We are going into new territory, a new frontier. It says, but be aware of what is on offer in exchange. Interesting. I think what that means is flirt it out first before you make any commitments and you go on the date. There you go. That's brilliant. Where you want to make sure both people feel like they're going to get an equal exchange to the best of your ability. Where one person isn't writing 4 hours writing an essay or a grant or a paper for someone, and then somebody else is doing 20 minutes of work. You're going to feel shortchanged. You're going to feel like it's not an equal exchange. So this flirting aspect is talking back and forth about it and making sure that everybody's kind of feeling like it's an equitable situation before you even go on the date and make the arrangements. Anything else want to come up with trade? No, I think I'll let you guys just palpate it and mull it over in your own consciousness, read the definition, like I said, and just open your mind up. Open your mind up to the very thought and potential that there is a new economy onboarding, and it's going to require brave pioneers to forge this new path. Okay, thanks for joining me today, and I will see you on another video. Goodbye.